1, 2, 3 out of 4 World Series rings, gonna win us some more. You know I'm talking about our favorite team, Mr. New York Yankees. Let me hear you scream. We've been doing it since Garrick and Ruth, Mantle and DiMaggio, that's the truth. We got a Yankee pride, pinstripes too. We're the Bronx Bombers in white and blue.
The OSFM rosters have finally dropped, and that means we can finally dive into the New York Yankees franchise, which I announced a few weeks back before MLB 15 the show even came out. And now it is finally here. Franchise Nation can finally begin for the MLB 15 the show portion of this channel. It has finally arrived, and I am pumped to get this started. Now, first things first. There is a reason why I chose the Yankees, and the reason is not they're my favorite team. That is a partial bit of the reason, but there is a big reason why I want to be the Yankees, and that is not it. That reason is I want to duplicate, or at least come as close as I can to duplicating the success they achieved in the late 90s, early 2000s that made me and so many people my age Yankee fans in the tri-state area. Now, what I mean by duplicate is I mean that grow those talented 4 players, 4, 5, maybe 6, maybe even 3 players who can really turn the franchise around and take it to the next level, and not just constantly signing overpaid veterans. I know that's the main stereotype that the New York Yankees as a franchise have at the moment throughout the baseball world, but it hasn't always been like that. And really, besides 2009, all those rest of the World Series championships, they weren't bought like people like to throw that term out there. You could say that about every single team Major League Baseball who's won a World Series, but for some reason people just like to throw that it's the Yankees bought everyone because they're in this huge market, and everyone hates the Yankees and their World Series victories, but we're not going to get into a whole rant about that. So what I mean by replicate, like I said, is to develop those core players through our system and get them to the big leagues and help them move on to the next part of the Yankees franchise. Now, that being said, this is going to be a multi-year thing. This is not going to be a one-and-done franchise, a 2-3 season franchise. I expect this franchise to go through multiple seasons, especially since we're going to need time to get these guys who I plan on being our homegrown players up to the point of being those core players who can win us a World Series. So those prospects that I am keeping an eye on. First one being second baseman prospect Rob Refsnyder. Second baseman, took him out of Arizona. He was a former Wildcat, and he raked last year in AAA and AA. He just raked throughout the minors. He's sitting at a B potential in this game. He's a low 60 overall. He will get better. Right now, he's not exactly the player you want hitting third in your lineup, but he's going to get better, and I would like to have him be part of the future of this team. Number 2 guy, Aaron Judge, 6'7" mammoth corner outfielder / first baseman out of Fresno State. He won the College World Series. He won the College Home Run Derby when he was in college at Fresno State. Yankees took him. He tore it up in the Arizona Fall League this year in 2014, and people are looking really high on Aaron Judge. I believe, don't quote me on this, but I believe he is the number 1 prospect in the New York Yankees organization. Then we move on to a first base prospect who is a converted catcher. He is a lefty bat, and we all know how lefty bats fare in Yankee Stadium. Greg Bird. Greg Bird is another highly looked at prospect in the Yankees organization. He is a guy that most Yankee fans love, and they want to see get a shot at some point in the major leagues. Now, also, there's Gary Sanchez, who at one point was regarded by pretty much every major league team as the only can't-miss prospect in the Yankees organization. Now, not so much. People not really sure if he's a catcher, not really sure if he'll convert to first base. They don't really know what position he is, what position he's long-term at. They don't really know if he can hit at the next level. They don't know if he'll be able to do anything at the next level. So he's kind of a bunch of question marks around him, as well as really that's what the general thing with the Yankees is. But Before we get into that, we'll get into more prospects. Another guy, Luis Severino, right-handed pitcher, starter. He's 21 years old. He is basically, I would say, the best pitching prospect that the Yankees currently have. Besides Jacob Lindgren, who can give him a run for his money, left-handed reliever, drafted last year in 2014, pitched amazing throughout the minors in his first year. He even had a shot to make the team at opening day this year, so you could definitely expect to see him sometime soon. He was actually one of the last few spring training cuts, so you can expect to see Jacob Lindgren sometime within this first season of the Yankees franchise, as if someone struggles, Jacob Lindgren is up to the bigs. Another guy, Eric Jagiello, I believe that is how you say it. If it's not, I will get that down. Eric Jagiello, third base. He's a power lefty bat, like I said. We all know how lefty bats fare in the Yankee Stadium. They rake, pretty much. It produces power numbers for people who aren't even power hitters. So when you have actual power hitters, a lefty power bat, that's going to really reap the benefits. And he's a power lefty bat, and he's a third baseman. I would like to have him up in the bigs, maybe cleanup hitter, maybe a fifth hitter at some point. Mason Williams and Slade Heathcott fall under the same category. They're both outfielders. They're both lefty-hitting outfielders, but they both throw righty. And they're both the same type of player, but they also both have question marks around them. They at one point were regarded as, hey, these guys could be pretty good players. And now they're both kind of looking like, yeah, maybe they could be something. Maybe they could be nothing. Most likely, at the best, they'll be like a fourth outfielder. So that's what they're looking at right now. Hopefully they can turn out to be something good. Even if it is a fourth outfielder, I'll take that. But these two guys are definitely guys to look out for. Mason Williams and Slade Heathcott. Now what about the old players, the veteran players that are at the tail end of their careers that are on the Yankees? Guys like CC Sabathia, guys like Mark Teixeira, Carlos Beltran, A-Rod. These players are guys who are on their way out. That is right, they are on their way out. The only really guys that are over 30 years old you can expect to see long-term on this team are Jacoby Ellsbury, Brian McCann, and Chase Headley. And Brian McCann, I understand a lot of Yankee fans and a lot of people don't exactly like him on the Yankees. They think he's overpaid. They think he's way overpaid for the amount of stuff he does. I'm not arguing that. I'm pretty sure he is overpaid. He is overpaid. There's no arguing that. But everybody on the Yankees right now is overpaid. So, Brian McCann is definitely a quality player. He's just not worth the money he has. But I do want to keep him on the team if I can. So Brian McCann, Jacoby Ellsbury, Chase Headley are the guys you can expect to see semi-long-term. Headley being semi, Ellsbury, McCann long-term. Because I'm not sure what I want to do with Headley anymore, but we'll get into that later as the series goes on. And another question, another if, which is one, like I said, a huge thing that the Yankees have. They basically lead the Major League Baseball in ifs. If they stay healthy, can they do this? If their old guys produce, can they do this? If their old guys fall off, will they have enough talent on their minor leagues, on their bench to do anything? Tons of ifs on this team. Can they actually hit this year? If they hit, if they do that, that is the Yankees in a nutshell. And one of those ifs is, well, not is, but is Didi Gregorius the answer at shortstop? Didi Gregorius. I said it right that time. Didi Gregorius, can he be the answer at shortstop? He is a very solid defensive shortstop in the game. He should be in real life. But he has not proven anything at the plate so far. He's a left-handed bat, but he can't hit against lefties. And he definitely has some more upside because he's young. Way more upside than Brendan Ryan. But as of right now, he's not exactly a player you want to have as a everyday player on your team, even if he is amazing at shortstop. He hasn't really proven that he's a great or even a decent player, or even a quality player. He's just a below-average bat and a really solid fielder. And as this series goes on, you'll grow more familiar with what the goal of the series is. You'll grow more familiar with the prospects who I want to bring up. You'll grow more familiar with the guys who maybe you're not too sure about, or you don't know too much about in the minor leagues. As this series goes on, you'll become more familiar with them. And that'll also wrap things up here for this introduction video for the New York Yankees franchise. You will see later today, opening day against the Toronto Blue Jays, Masahiro Tanaka versus R.A. Dickey. So with that being said, that'll wrap things up. I've been your host, JerseyBorn, and I'm saying goodbye.